you know, and you got on.
Really
Calling the Grandview High City Council meeting to order. Everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, read the roll.
Edwards.
He is excused.
Here. Patinas.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, you're still.
Hello.
Okay.
Patinos. Here. Houston.
Here.
Kozak.
Here.
Pansera.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
President Keeler. Absent. Mayor Kearns.
Here.
Director Dvorsky.
Here.
City Attorney Kusam. Here. Director Miller.
Here.
Okay, first order of business, we're going to go a little bit out of order. We have third reading for Ordinance 2022-05. This is an ordinance that we have a special guest here that's being recognized. Clerk, want to read the ordinance, and then I'm going to turn it over to the sponsor of the legislation, Councilmember Panzera.
Ordinance 2022-05, an ordinance to change the name of Swan Street to Bowman Way in honor of former Director of Administration Patrick Bowman and his unwavering commitment to the city of Grandview Heights.
Mr. Panzera has some remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We're going to bring, if it's okay, we're going to bring the lectern up and deliver this to you resolution style. Come on up. And any guests that you might like to have? Vice President Chris, Mayor Kearns. Here, let's come on up. Oh, right. Let me bring her. Don't sit on Ryan, just gather up there with I have some remarks here that are very similar to what I delivered at the chamber meeting a couple months ago, so a couple of you in the room have heard these. It's good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for being here on such short notice. In 2004, Big Bear stores closed as a result of the Penn Traffic bankruptcy filing, and Grandview Heights lost its largest source of revenue. That closure created a significant impact to our general fund, triggering a variety of difficult budget and operational cutbacks. We are facing an immediate crisis that many still don't fully understand, with an extended period when the city nearly reached deficit with only 10 days of operating cash in the coffers, basically zero in the realm of municipal finance. This immediately forced us to make difficult decisions to simply survive as a full-service city. But to those of us who had a visionary outlook on the future of the city, it brought an incredible and unheard of, at that time, opportunity to create a new foundation of modern-day urban development. Converting 100 acres of warehouses and barren pavement with essentially zero infrastructure into a thriving mixed-use community would end up requiring some $120 million of public improvements. At that time, our annual total capital budget was averaging around $300,000 a year. We were facing essentially a moonshot proposition. How do we leverage $120 million in improvements with a mere budget of $300,000 a year? If you want to try and make sense of that in a consumer level, that's the equivalent of 400 years of our entire capital budget at that time. And there's no 400-year mortgage or bond available. The challenge went beyond the extraordinary math problem. We endured resistance from landowners, businesses, critics, and even from our own residents, while we chose to turn away other potential users who wanted to simply continue the current use of the sprawling facility, providing essentially zero opportunity for the city and the schools. With committed vision and an extensive planning and negotiating process, nearly 2 years, the City of Grandview Heights and Nationwide Realty investors executed an enormously elaborate public-private partnership agreement to create the Grandview Yard in 2009, 5 years after the closure of Big Bear. The night council ratified that agreement, I think Patrick got his first good night's sleep in about 5 years, which was well deserved. To date, the yard has brought us nearly 4,600 new jobs, $300 million in annual payroll, $450 million in real estate investment, and nearly $120 million in public improvements cited earlier. It has brought 2 hotels and an event center to the city, generating nearly $4 million in hotel tax to date. Income tax revenue to the city of Grandview Heights has increased from $4.9 million in 2009 to $17.3 million in 2021, representing a 350% increase. This new revenue has enabled the city to complete countless infrastructure and civic improvements with $10 million in public park renovations, including our beloved new municipal pool, in addition to the land acquisition and construction of our new $6 million service complex on McKinley Avenue. The Grandview Heights City School District has received nearly $18 million in real estate-related revenue since the inception. This amount will continue to grow, providing a stable foundation for the continued performance of our schools and our future students. In 2019, we revisited and renegotiated the shared revenue agreement to redirect an additional $26 million to the school district, covering nearly half of the $55 million voted bond levy funding the dramatic school improvements that you see underway today. The Grandview Yard has provided a wide variety of new local jobs, professional service, retail, and food service, along with 1,600 new residents that can now call Grandview Heights home. It continues to spur surrounding investments along the Goodale corridor and beyond. It has propelled Grandview Heights to be not only a central Ohio destination, but now a widely sought regional destination, even garnering attention from developers across the country. Pat served as a passionate visionary leader for the creation of the yard and cemented an unending legacy in Grandview Heights, for which we are all incredibly grateful. It is my pleasure to provide him this honor tonight. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Let me introduce everybody first real quick. This is Ethan Bowman. I rounded up all the Bowmans I could find. If there are any Bowmans in the audience, please come on. This is Ethan Bowman, Melissa Bowman, who has been my inspiration forever, Kinsley Bowman, Rushani Bowman, and Andrew Bowman, and Leslie Bowman Maroic will watch it tomorrow, I think, on YouTube. More than anything else, the only thing I want to say is just think about the other day that although it obviously has our name, I really want that to stand for the good planning that Grandview has done and will continue to do in the future. So if it could be that mark, I'd really mean a whole lot more to me. So.
There weren't enough words on the signage to do that. I had to shorten it for you.
We'll put it on the wall out there.
We'll write it up the post.
Thank you so much. It was an honor and a privilege, and hopefully it was, like I said, a really great experience for me, and took me into what is really a great retirement. So thank you so much.
Good. Well, we have we haven't voted on it yet, so you
Yeah.
have to spoil it.
Andrew said that. He said, "You mean they haven't voted yet?"
Nope. We're waiting to see what you had to say.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Chris, Greg, of course. Sorry, I'm not trying to run the show. Just for a minute.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your service.
Get a huddled up picture before you.
Oh, sure. 4.
Sneaker net my
I don't want to get in anybody's
like
way.
back of these things.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I almost said here during the roll call. So.
Looking wonderfully good. Where's happening?
Okay, well, we had plenty of discussion on this ordinance. Anybody else want to speak? If not, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Katsafatinos?
Yes.
Houston?
Yes.
Kozak?
Yes.
Pansara?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-05 has been approved.
There you go.
As much as we'd like to stay.
It's a short,
It's a short.
short meeting.
What happens is kids have to go to bed, so.
And if I could just say one thing,
Yeah.
the street that got renamed, I mean, you know this, but not necessarily everybody in our audience does, is the connector from Grandview Heights into the city of Columbus, the extension of Swan Street to Twin Rivers. And I think that's very appropriately symbolic for all of the things that you have done. It's really to connect us in a regional way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Let me help you.
Again, thanks for staying. You don't want to stay for old time's sake?
I might sneak back a little bit. Thank you so much.
Okay, next order of business, we have a resolution recognizing the 30th anniversary of Grandview Heights Marble Cliff Education Foundation. We have Nicole Danofsky and other board members here. Come on up. There. This is the resolution that we have. We have to, other council members have to have it signed, so you'll get it a little later, okay? But here it is.
Want me to read it?
Oh, I was gonna go ahead and read it. Okay, so this is a resolution recognizing Grandview Heights Marble Cliff Education Foundation. It's 30 years being in existence, whereas Grandview Heights Marble Cliff Education Foundation, GHM, CEF, the acronym is harder than the actual name, strives to fund schools and community projects that expand educational opportunities, promote schools, family, business, and community partnerships, and encourage lifelong learning. And whereas the GHMCF, if I can get that right, has made important contributions to the lives of young people in Grandview Heights, Ohio, to support the health and welfare of the community's children. And whereas since its inception in 1991, GHMCF has contributed more than $1 million to the Grandview Heights City School and community. And whereas the GHMCEF, I might have left out E at one point, sorry, is powered by the hard work and dedication of board members, volunteers, and funders. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the Grandview Heights City Council do hereby recognize and congratulate the Grandview Heights Marble Cliff Education Foundation for its many years of service to the community and wish the organization many future years of prosperity. Congratulations.
Must be one of the original board members. Congratulations, nice work.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, yeah.
We
Thanks
get
for
a
all the great
picture.
work you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet, yeah. Would you like to introduce the original board member?
I'm Nicole Donofsky, so I'm the current president, but Paul Panzera was one of the founding members of the foundation. We are celebrating a year late, but that's what the pandemic will do. And it's fitting that we have one of our newest board members, Kulu Moyo. He just joined us this past year, and also with me is James Hunt, and he's our treasurer.
Mr.
Thank
Panzera,
you.
you probably know one of our members.
I know him well. I tried to talk him into going on the school board one time, and he said he learned his lesson by having his father on the school board.
They would not have treated my academic record very well at all, so.
Very
Well,
well. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for all that you do, thanks for your service.
Mayor,
Thank you.
do you want to get in a picture?
Yeah, we look forward to the.
Yeah, leave your claims to a chair in it
Garden
too.
park.
He's your dad too, will you?
I don't like the chair. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you'll have an empty room to talk to.
Yeah, that's what,
That's what happens at a school board meeting also.
Okay, now on to old business.
We have an appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have mayoral appointment. The board member, Mayor Kurz, you want to speak to this?
Thank you. I am nominating Ryan Edwards. Y'all know him. He's not here.
it's good that you're nominating him when he's not here, it's the way to do it.
He looks a
I
little
think it
different.
just requires council approval or affirmation by voice vote.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you. Second one is Parks Advisory Board. I am nominating Aj Grover. I sent Aj's resume around. He's served us on landscape advisory in the past. He's actually still on there, but I had a nice conversation with him about moving to Parks Advisory, and that's really where his passion is. He's run a couple of departments of the state. He is at Chase now, and really, just really interested in service and the community, and loves the parks and the landscape field.
All in favor of this nomination, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none?
Thank you.
Okay, now on to old business.
Mhm.
Resolution 06-2022, a resolution adopting a tax budget for fiscal year 2023.
Okay, finance met at 6 PM and we had a discussion on this. We recommended approval to council. It is the second reading, and there will be a public meeting June 6th, so that'll just be the second reading. Next order of business.
Resolution 08-2022, a resolution authorizing the city of Grandview Heights to pursue lease financing for the acquisition of a fire truck.
The Finance Committee met on this as well. We did recommend approval to council. Again, this is the second reading. Is there any reason to pass it this evening? Okay, this will just be a second reading then. Next order of business.
Ordinance 2022-03, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the city of Grandview Heights, Ohio.
Chair Planning oh no, that was not assigned to Planning Administration. Is there any,
It's not assigned, but I'm
Yeah,
the
okay.
sponsor.
Okay.
It's just the yearly housekeeping. There's not really much need for any discussion on this. This is something that's mostly done internally with the assistance of our legal counsel. I move to.
Move to approve.
I second.
Move to approve.
I second.
Move to
there is a motion to approve and
approve.
second.
6 times.
Hudson Fatinos.
Yes.
Houston.
Yes.
Kozak. Yes. Panzera.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-03 has been approved.
Next order of business.
Ordinance 2022-04, an ordinance amending the salary ordinance of the city of Grandview Heights and declaring it an emergency.
Okay, we did, Finance Committee did meet on this ordinance as well. Again, this is just reclassification of two positions in Parks and Rec. It does not change the salary range at all for either one. Mayor, you want to briefly just mention anything else?
No, that's accurate. Reclassification. Often in government, designation 1 to 2 means that if you're advancing from 1 to 2 at a higher skill. That's not what this is, and so we thought it was misleading. And, again, you know about the events position that we added.
I will move to approve.
Second?
Clerk call the roll.
Houston.
Yes.
Kozak.
Yes.
Panzera.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Hatsafetinos.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-04 has been approved.
Next order of business.
Ordinance 2022-06, an ordinance to amend Chapter 549 of the codified ordinances of the city of Grandview Heights pertaining to the use of fireworks.
Planning Administration did meet on this evening.
We did. There are some minor amendments to this ordinance, which we will move to recommend to council as a whole at the next meeting, as this was second reading.
Okay. Next order of business.
Ordinance 2022-07, an ordinance to approve supplemental appropriations during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
And Finance Committee did meet on this supplemental ordinance as well. We did recommend approval of council at third reading, but again, this is just the second reading. So move on to the next order of business. New business.
Resolution 10-2022, a resolution to waive the provisions of section 529.07B3 of the codified ordinances for the community celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Grandview Heights Marble Cliff Education Foundation in the city of Grandview Heights.
This ties in with the resolution of recognition we just had. Mayor, would you like to speak to this?
Sure, briefly, they, as you know, that there's been a gala, at least for the recent history. I don't know how far back the gala went, but they've been doing this a long time. This year, they wanted to both commemorate their 30th with something a little different and do something outside, and also have maybe get a little wider recognition, both physically, visibly, and more accessibly to you know, those who don't really groove on the black tie affair. So we really talked to them a lot about having a Lyman Wood shelter. That was the original plan. However, it became apparent that the size of it was going to be not really fitting in the park, and there was not a lot of outdoor space to use. So we ultimately worked with them to move it actually over here to what I think of as the soccer buddies green, which is substantially larger. Then there's also the parking lot, so there's plenty of room for tents, etc. It is at the end of the month, but that's the gist of it. Because alcohol's involved, we are bringing this forward to waive the open container as we would for other events that are on public right away.
Any discussion? And this is just a resolution.
Ask for passage tonight
Passage
because
tonight,
it's this
yeah.
month. Yeah.
In an abundance of caution, I'll move to suspend the rules.
We don't have to do it anymore.
I know.
Yeah. Move to approve.
Okay, I'll second. Clerk call the roll.
Kozak.
Yes.
Panzera.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Hatsafetinos.
Yes.
Houston.
Yes.
Resolution 10-2022 has been approved.
Next order of business.
Ordinance 2022-08, an ordinance to permanently restrict filling the compensatory volume created by the excavation of the Swan Street connector and declaring an emergency.
This looks riveting.
Yeah.
I can take this one.
Okay. City Attorney, you want to speak to this?
So not exciting, but,
It's a
so.
dirt swap.
It's a dirt swap. Unfortunately, we don't have the exhibits in here for you because the engineer had to make some last minute changes to the wording of the exhibit, and it was a PDF that I couldn't modify and include. But the gist of it is, the floodplain has to stay at a certain level, you know, everywhere. And we had excessive dirt that came as a result of digging up Swan Street, Bowman Way. And there's a site in Columbus on Twin Rivers that needs that topsoil or fill dirt to help level out so that they can, you know, meet whatever the standards are for the floodplain. And so we worked with both the city engineer and the NRI engineer, who is project manager on the Goodale South site, to swap this dirt away and without it having any impact on the floodplain for the city of Grandview Heights. But all this has to go through some formal process to document to FEMA and other agencies, you know, that nothing inappropriate is happening. So it's hard to explain it without getting too much more complicated. But that pretty much sum it up.
I don't know if there's any discussion, I know it's a hot button topic, but.
It's riveting
Okay.
stuff, I know.
Is, Dr. Kazama, some of that for US EPA too, to make sure that, is any of that documentation for the US EPA, so there's not like contamination of soil that you're?
The engineer really told it, no, it's got nothing to do with contamination. I mean, basically, we're gonna want some certification that it's as is, like,
Okay.
we're not taking responsibility. I can't say with any certainty whether it's, you know, dirt that came out of the public right of way or dirt that came off of an NRI owned site. We just, you know, would like to help somebody else's floodplain problem, that's it. So, there will be a short agreement between the city of Grandview Heights and the city of Columbus that, you know, attests to the fact that the floodplain will remain at 742 feet above sea level or some such thing.
That's, to me, that's part of the real purpose is to, because we effectively interfered with critical boundaries of the floodplain.
Right.
So this ensures that those boundaries will be preserved.
Right, and Grandview can never refill that, well, it's now a roadway, so it's not likely to happen. But, you know, if down the road, for example, the Link Us project were to divert any part of Swan Street or Twin Rivers, that part can never go below the certified level. So
Okay.
we spent time with the engineers to try to understand what this meant. It was, it was not intuitive to me.
Right, it's in the weeds, so to speak.
Any other questions, discussion?
I'm all for filling consent.
If not, that's the first reading. Comments from council members?
No assignment to point of order, no assignment to committee for that one, just housekeeping.
Oh. Yes, that'll go to P&A, Planning Administration, I believe.
Okay.
Sure.
Consensual volume filling is your task.
Don't start.
Okay, comments from council members.
I did have a couple things. Melanie and I know Kathy Adams. She's a UA councilwoman who is the first openly LGBTQ council member elected to that communities council, and she also helps organize Rainbow UA. They had their first ever Pride event last year, and they're working on their second one this year, and they were hoping that they might get some support from Grandview and Marble Cliff, so it could be a Tri-Village Pride event. It's going to be on Sunday, June 5th from 1 to 4 at the Mallway in Arlington, and they're looking for LGBTQ vendors, so I've been helping her with that. And then I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody knows. If you're interested in helping or you know someone who might be, let me know and I can put you in touch with Kathy. And let's see. Oh, and I met two women who are councilwomen in Hilliard, and Cynthia Vermillion and Tina Catone through my class, the Voinovich Academy, and they were saying that last year in Hilliard they had pride flags put up along, the city put pride flags up along their main street, so I just wanted to mention that in case we would consider doing something similar. And then on a different topic, 2 weeks ago when we
do the resolution for Fair Housing Month. It hadn't occurred to me at the time, but I was doing some research on that. And so 2 weeks ago was April 4th, and I had been reading that they've been trying to pass that legislation for a couple of years in 66 and 67, but unsuccessfully trying to pass that. And April 4th was when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, and then that was the reason that they finally were able to pass that legislation. So I just wanted to note that it was good that it was passed, but sad that it took his death to move that forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, we are adjourned.
Super excited about all that work.
It's a lot of stuff. When you guys see the movie Selma?
I haven't seen it.
There is a.
That was the first